Yeah.
So Dr. CJ, glad you're here. I wasn't watching your show last night. Thank you for being here, I guess. How to survive in a new economy, I think. Future-proof your business in the new economy. I think is what Dr. CJ was talking about. So thank you so much for being here. Also amazing author and publisher, mega author as well. So do connect Dr. CJ for sure. Ramonsele, I see you. Welcome. Glad you're here. Thank you so much. Your sister is writing a book that I'm waiting to publish. So we'll cross that bridge when the time comes, my friend. If you know Dr. Augusta, that's Ramonsele's sister. She's in France. So she's writing a book as we speak. Christiana, my editor supreme, glad you're here. Thank you so much. Dr. CJ says, I love giving a proportion of sales of my books last year to nonprofit. We gave farmers jobs and planted 36 trees and gave money on behalf of Jess when she died for mental health. Again, they say that as Joni was saying, and as the video showed, you can be genuinely tied to the cause. When you're tied to the cause, then you can have. I think I'm going off your comment, Coach, where you say it can have impact. Of course it can, but the issue is this for me. As Joan is saying, if your book is based on the issue, the cause, I'll take it. If you've just written a book about whatever, and you want to now donate to manatees or one-legged elephants or short giraffes, I'm saying that's your due. It's not going to work, right? It's not going to work.
Wait, are there one-legged elephants, honey? Stop it right now, because now I'm going to do a GoFundMe page. Oh, never. Oh, God. Okay.
Now you're gonna make me go Google it. My mind's like, go look for one-legged elephants. Don't do that, Kenny.
There's three-legged elephants.
Honey, we have ADHD. We're just like, okay, you just said something really cool, and we're just gonna be like, this is horrible.
Is Cher gonna be there for this one-legged elephant that's been so lonely? I mean,
they're three-legged elephants. They exist, and there's charities for them too. They really are.
Well, Annie, I'm taking notes. You're my hero.
Same as dwarf giraffes. They do exist, right? Giraffes with very short necks.
You know what? Me and my son actually believes giraffes were somehow designed, because he's like, there's no chicken or the egg with that one, Mom. He's like, no, giraffes we designed them somehow. He's all, show me pictures in Egypt that has giraffes. And I was like, damn kid.
Yeah, no, let's get
on the ark apparently, so let's they were there in the pictures. That modern day has done that. It's so silly. I know. But
let's get serious again. Let's get back to seriousness. Our time is valuable. Let's get back to seriousness, right? So Dr. Leslie says, tying a book launch to a holiday expands reach. It can do. People like to, what's the word? Visualize, dream. They can see, they think of the good things in life. Of course they do. I can see that for sure.
Wait, Leslie, that's such a good point, because do you know how much those Hallmark movies make that are Christmas silly movies that are just like pumped out during the holiday times? That's all those actors need to live. Like, it's just pumped out because it's Christmas.
Yeah, so the people who live on these things that give me a headache. These days, these holidays, or day, whatever, Cyber Monday, Cyber Tuesday, Cyber Saturday. I don't know which one is which anymore. But there's handbags day. There's golf balls day. There's just a day for everything. Flowers day. I could play a bicycle there. I'm sure there is. You know, they're all there, right? But I think no, the more the point. You know, Theophany says, "I lost my uncle and aunt in the tsunami. Thank you, Joe, for recalling." You know, there's much more to tell about the loss. Indeed, you know, truly. Now, look, you know, again, I said I can understand when the cause is close to your heart and your book's about the cause. What I am arguing against, what I don't understand, what doesn't work, as Joni says, is when you write a book and just attach it almost like a stamp to a cause. You might intend to give a charity, any charity, not just three-legged donkeys charity. You know, if you heard that woman in the video, she said we're going to give a percentage of our net profits to charity, right? Keep those words in mind. They mean something. It means something. It means something because, in the grand scheme of things, my friends, book sales are not going to make you millions unless you are one of the great authors, like one of those authors. So, what are you going to give to charity? $20 if you're lucky. And buyers know that they don't fall for that trick anymore. Don't use that trick. Coach, please share with us. My door's going. I'm just going. Let's get my delivery, otherwise my wife will kill me. Coach, please unmute and talk to us. And time I'm gone. Coach, are you there? Coach David, come on, come back. Say something.
I will tell you what's the hardest for me to write. Why it's so hard for me to write. Do you guys want to know?
Yeah, I'll keep it going for about 5 minutes.
All right. Actually, putting myself back into the mindset of what happened. It's horrifying because it's like I've always called my mind the cave, and my cave has an amazing library in it. I do. It has really cool bookshelves and everything, and everything that's ever happened to me in my life, I just file it, like I call it my cave in my library. And since I do that, I can fill those books and everything I've written down in my cave and my memories and everything every once in a while wanting to come out, but it's like because you don't ever forget. You can't forget what happens to you, but you can choose not to have it affect you. And so that's what I've learned to do is file everything in my cave. And I only bring certain things out when I need them. And unfortunately, going back in to the cave, it puts you, when you go in there, it's just like when you're a secretary or something and you're in the records room and you're looking for a certain record or something, and when you take it out, you know, you're going to have to read it and just be like, oh my God, all this happened and everything. That's what's hard for me, is going back into the cave, taking out the file and reopening it. And you know, because I put such a good I guess since I file so good and I can go on with life, it's like you don't want to go back in there and read it again so you can write your book. And
so
that's
how do you
my
do it?
only problem.
How do you do it? I mean, you just wrote something, and I think you sent it to Annie a while back.
Yes,
This is
but
how do you do it? How do you uh, go back in
honestly,
and
I
come out?
have to put myself in a
Because I think it's
it's like
essential to be in that
meditation almost.
condition to write the book.
It's what? I'm sorry.
I think it's essential to be in that condition to write the book, because otherwise you're
It,
not going to capture the emotions correctly.
no, and you're right. You're absolutely right. And honestly, when I wrote all that, it was summertime and I could go outside and do my gardening and everything like that. I got to be doing something that grounds me, like gardening. I tried to do it this winter inside and see if it gave me the same effect. Not at all. because it's not like I don't have the universe, Mother Nature, and God out there just like how you do outside. And so I know I can go back in there this summer and do it. I was just trying this winter time to figure out how to do it. And so I tried the vegetables inside, and it didn't give me the same feeling. It didn't give me the same joy. It didn't give me the same safe place, I guess, because when I go back into everything like that, I got to remember I did go through it and I came out on the other end fine. But once you go into a dark place like that, you got to make sure you can come out of it. And the only way I've ever been able to come out of it, and that's why I've just always been into agriculture, is growing things, because you regrow yourself all the time. That's why I love phoenixes. They, I mean, on Harry Potter, the phoenix would just, and then he came back, and it's just like, oh, well, that's what we do. Anyone can do that, so be a phoenix. So I took that expression 3 years ago. And then since I've always done agriculture, I was just like, yeah, we're all kind of like vegetables. We grow, we die. You need to weed your garden. Some weeds are beautiful until they get older, like thistles, and they'll pop your tire and stuff. So it taught me how to weed my garden and also how to weed people out of my life. And I haven't quite learned how to do that during the winter time when I have to be inside. And that's the whole thing right there. I mean, honestly, it is. I have to shut myself off from the world, put on my music. And by the way, you guys, the only time I can really think is with music. And I've been that way since I was a kid. I mean, I listened to Mozart and everything growing up on my little Holly Hobby record player. And, Sound of Music, all that stuff. That's what got me straight A's through school. Didn't help me with communicating with people, but that was the only way I could learn. And I was able to do anything. Well, getting older after everything has happened and filing it in the cave, you have to learn tools to be able to bring something out of the cave and read it and be able to show people, and then be able to shut that folder back up and take it back into your cave without it affecting or disrupting your family life, anyone's, especially your own life. And that's really hard to find. And I don't care what anyone says, oh, I found this, I found that. Did you though? Because how far have you gotten? Because none of us have gone forward since COVID. And I had to find my tools that I could use for myself so I could keep raising my daughter, keep writing what I wrote that Annie has. And now I needed to go back into it. And I've been told all winter long, and listening to you guys too. And I've tried everything. And you know what? We all have our own little niches. And if I'm not grounded, I mean, actually grounded with the ground outside, I can't do it because I don't feel safe enough. And I don't trust myself enough to physically, after I'm done with it, every night when I'm done writing in it or whatever, so I don't sit there and dwell on it and put it away, I've got to do, and I got to do what I do with the tools I've learned until I learn more tools.
The simple answer to your question, Michael, is I would not advise starting writing your book without having dealt with the issues emotionally. Writing a book will bring up those memories, as I think Christiana mentioned, and which can be traumatic.
Yes,
some authors really struggle. They literally, some go into depression, some go into physical sickness because it's so traumatic. You must deal with the issues. If that means getting therapy, so be it.
Exactly. And I know this, so that's why I haven't done it yet. I've tried to 3 times this winter, you guys. Each time it put me in such a depressive mood to the point I hated everyone.
Yeah,
Absolutely hated everyone.
don't do that. It might make you feel better in the end, but then there's better ways.
Exactly.
Look,
And so
let's get back to my conversation, Joni. There's 3 new people on stage. I want to, not Joni, sorry, Joni, Michelle. So
Oh, Michelle, you're doing so good. I
you are.
appreciate all your comments. You're doing so
You
good.
are.
I mean, it's hard also, like, with thinking about trying to, like, speak your mind, like when you are feeling frustrated that, like, you can't get things out that are hurtful. And so it's okay.
Yeah, when you don't know how to get something out, you honestly wrote it the way I wrote it that Annie has. I didn't know how to explain what was going on in my life, and that's the reason they allowed me to keep writing it the way I was, because then they were actually able to fact check it, because I had written such, even the color of the vehicles and everything like that, that they were able to easily go check everything out. All right, well, now people want that in a story. Okay,
Yeah.
I can do that. I can do that very easily, but at the same time, I've got to think about my mental health. I got to think about my kids' mental health.
Yeah,
And
they're
I'm
more
not.
important. When you have a kid, they're more
Oh,
important. Just like, take it.
I'm not sure, Joni. Look,
I don't know.
we are,
I
when,
just,
when
like, I feel like
Joni,
you
no,
said,
listen, no, we are being
different conversation. Okay.
no. I think we're being too fluffy. Really. No, I'm a marketer. I write books for people. I sell books for people, right? My best chance of selling your book is by you writing for your readers. There's no 2 ways about it. That's why I'm
That's
interrupting
correct.
you.
No,
Right?
that's true. But when you're writing about, no, you're honestly true there. But when you're writing about mental health and something that's happened to you, you best have a backup plan so you don't go batshit crazy
I agree.
and go out there and hurt other people. And that's what I didn't want to do.
No,
That's
no.
good.
And
That's good. Don't do that, Michelle. Say no. Just call me and I'll be like, don't do
no, see,
it.
that's what I mean.
Like the peace sound.
I'm not a violent person. I'm not, and that's why I've
I
never
am not
fought
either,
back.
but there are times I've wanted to feel angry to the point of annoyance.
I may bring this conversation back now one day, but ultimately,
Yeah, we'll take it back. We'll take it back.
Yeah.
Let's
No,
let
we must-
Michael and Alexis and Coach David and Selena.
Yeah, Coach David seems to be frozen. I don't know why he's frozen.
But Selena's not. Selena.
Yeah,
Talk to us.
Okay, all right. So, Coach David, when you're ready, feel free to flash your mic. No, that's what we used to do. To do it on audio and flash your mic. Then I know you're ready. Alexis, how you doing? Great to see you again today. Talk to us, Alexis.
Hi, I'm here. A little bit late, not sure exactly the focus of the topic.
Yeah, no, I will happily explain. Right, I say, look, you and I see authors almost every day who write a book, and then when they come to us, they're like, I want to give a percentage of my proceeds, of my revenue, my royalties to a charity. You're like, great idea. Why not? But now, what I refuse to do, Alexis, is to market the book on that basis. I'm not going to. Your cause is not your main. It can't be your biggest hook. It can't be. And I tell them straight, no, I'm not doing it. What's your take? Does writing for a cause help you sell more books?
That's a very good question. Let me think. There are a few people out there who have gone on a journey and started non-profits or some kind of charity. So in order to raise funds, they've put together a book. Okay, feeling that is going to raise money, and most of the time it doesn't. I really I believe that if you're writing a book about whatever aspect of your life or some kind of happening or something, event that is very impactful on yourself or your family or the world, write the book for that reason, to convey what has gone on and the impact on yourself, your family, or the world. And then you can, if you would like to, donate a portion of the income to a charity, and perhaps a charity that helps people who have experienced whatever that causes focuses. But I don't think it should be the main reason, because it doesn't always work from my observations. So that's my thought on that slant.
No, I thank you. You know the industry well enough that you can definitely speak, with honesty. It really helps, is the point, right? It really helps to suddenly attach to a charity.
Exactly.
For all sorts of reasons. And I say, again, I'm seeing your points about, your point, Alexis, and so Joni and Michelle, about a cause that's really part of you, a cause that's really important to you. That's what made you start your not-for-profit or whatever else, right? And there's a science to fundraising and getting people to donate money to you. I'll come to that in a second. Let's talk to Selena, and then I'd love to hear your thought. And I'll talk you through the science of donors and fundraising. And then I'll come back to the points about your books. Selena, please unmute. How are you doing? Enjoying life, Selena. Enjoying life.
Look at me. It's so hot.
I can't say that here, Selena. It's cold today. It's cold.
It's so hot here.
It's cold the last few days. She's gone on a trip to Africa. That's why she can be so hot and live the life.
It's so lovely. Yeah, I'm sorry I've been missing your talks and your chats. And
we've missed you. We've missed you.
Yeah.
What's your take on our topic? What's your take on, say, right now, marketing your book on the back of a charity or donating to charity? Is that something you've done? Something you know of?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. It's a bad thing. I mean, like somebody says, I can't remember who, that, what if he doesn't make any money and these guys are expecting something? Because you would have told them that you are writing this book, and then when, they start buying it, they will have something. So I don't think it's the right thing to say I'm writing the book to give to charity. I think I would rather just write a book to help those other people to understand. Like I wrote a book after going through, chemotherapy, after, when I had Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 4. I wrote about the community which was around me, the support that I had, and the thoughts which I had around me, because I wanted to help people. But now if I want to give to charity, I can give to maybe cancer research or people who are going, like in my country, it's so expensive. I mean, like in Zimbabwe, going to the doctor is so expensive. Doing chemotherapy is very expensive. So it's like, okay, I can offer maybe to say I'm going to sponsor 5 people from what I got, but not to say I'm going to do this. Sometimes I'll be stressing if I do that or I say that and then nothing sells. Then I'll say, okay, why did I say that? I shouldn't have said that. Now what am I going to do? These people are expecting something, and it will be on me. So I think it's good to just write a book. You want to save people, you want to help people understand how things work and how you work to something out. I think that's so for me, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, no, again,
Thank you.
I can understand why, and you made many good points that we can all learn from. I say I mentioned the psychology of donors. Isn't that psychology of getting people to give? It's called philanthropy psychology. It is a science of understanding how people love people. Yeah, you can get your head around that, right? And look, the reality is that psychologists, people give for different reasons, right? So when you go saying that, if you give, you're going to support this charity. There's a way to do it in a way that might be more, that resonates more, that people feel more, right? That's the best word for it. Now, most people give to charity not because of the cause, but more because they want to save on their tax deductions, is called, right? And if you don't want to pay that much tax, you can give a lot of it to charity, and you pay less tax because you're giving money because you have less money in your pocket. So that's one reason people give. And buying your book is not going to help me to save on my tax. Bear that in mind, right? The other reason people give is that because it makes us feel good. That's the truth, right? We like to give. We like the satisfaction, a sense of pleasure. That dopamine hit in our brains. That dopamine is a chemical, is a pleasure chemical, right? When we do something good, when we feel good, dopamine is what we tend to experience. The effect of dopamine. So we want to help. So people want to give so they can feel good and happy, and they feel like they've been helpful. See, again, that brain chemistry is very important. Because the question for authors then becomes, how do you make your buyers, your book buyers, feel good? Is it about them giving, or is it about them buying a book they need? Look, if you're going to insist on going with I'm going to give some of the revenue to charity, just know that you're going to have to go the extra mile. Again, Alexis mentioned charities actually do important work, that do new work, that do support work. So for me to care about that organization, I have to bear Selena's point in mind. People want to see the individuals they have helped. That's why I mentioned the three-legged donkeys. And then someone said they want to support three-legged elephants, not three-legged donkeys. I don't know what's wrong with three-legged donkey. The poor thing. One is a donkey, two has got 3 legs, right? Let's ignore that for a second. I'm saying people really you need to show your donors who you're helping, who they're helping by buying your book. And the authors who claim to want to give money to charity rarely do have that link, that direct evidence. The video I showed you also Cruise, the bereavement charity in the UK. Of course, they can show you how your money is helping them, how your book purchase is helping them. That's if you buy any books at all, But again, I think there's a point also to what Alexis said. If we're going to use our charitable donations as our marketing hook, then we're going to have to learn to treat the buyers much differently. In Annie's words, you're going to have to love your buyers. You can't. They're not just buyers, are they? You have to show them your heartfelt thanks. Not just say to them, "Go and buy the book because I'm giving it to charity." You have to love them. You have to build a relationship with them. You have to truly make them feel that buying your book is going to make them feel a part of a community. It's society, less a society, but a community of people who are like-minded, who are connected by your cause, by your book. Again, it's not impossible. If you're willing to go the extra mile, if you create your own not-for-profits on the back of your book, then that's one thing. People can actually feel part of that organization, part of that service, part of that not-for-profit, right? So a lot of us authors will happily throw out there, I'm donating money to charity, buy my book, because some of your money will go to charity. How much? Selena mentioned it as well, and I mentioned it earlier. Most authors that will not sell 100 books. Most authors will not sell 100 books. They will sell fewer. So look, your people don't care if you're giving to charity. But if you take time to build the relationships and you can demonstrate that their contribution is linked to someone's life, to impact, they might give you their trust. They might buy your book. Would they buy your book over the long term? Would they buy several copies? Probably not. Because that's not how we think when we buy books, my friends. When we buy books, we want to buy a book, not because of you, not to support you or your cause. See, if I want to support the Three-Legged Donkey Society, I'll just go to them directly and give them money, right? I'll find a website, donate to them and be happy and go and live my life. Your book has nothing to do with it. Why would I give you the money knowing that only a small percentage, tiny percentage, small amount of money, as Alina just mentioned, it could be peanuts that we're given to the charity, and that's not what we promised them, right? Don't be fooled into thinking my gift to charity from my book sales is going to change the world. You're not doing the world a great service, my friends. You're trying to sell your books, and it just sounds hawkish. Don't expect to check. People are not going to believe you. Because you say you're not in it for the money, doesn't mean you're going to sell more books. You're not. You're just not. No one cares. This is why the COVID conversation earlier, the way we might have found a heart in our bodies, it doesn't really apply, right? Look, you can mention the causes you support, as Alexis and Selena have said, on your website. You can mention it on your bio if you want, on your profile on LinkedIn, on your profile on social media, wherever you like, right? So you can tell them what charities you support, but don't make that the main thing when it comes to your book. So don't be using that blatant. It's not a lie. The blatant self-promotion. It's not for me. I'm doing this for this cause. So you must buy the book. People are not going to respond. Last person that came to me with that message, I was like, no. How much do you think you're going to donate to that charity? And my author friend quickly realized that it is an old trick. It's old hat. And no, we didn't use that to market the book. Never mentioned it ever again. Maybe I want us to go on to what you want to focus on instead for the last few minutes whilst we're here. If we're not going to market by begging for donations, what are we going to market our book on? What really helps authors to sell more? I wonder, who wants to share with us? Who has insights that we can learn from? Joni, feel free.
I have something to share that is so off topic. So
don't go off topic. Don't go off. So just give us a few tips that might help us to sell more books. How's that?
Okay, so it would be really helpful for you to sell more books if you get someone to do SEO marketing for you. It would, to just get your book name out there once you've completed it. It would help to have a really good publisher and not someone who is is kind of a scam artist. Just don't fall for the scam artist. That's all I can say. Paulette and I can both agree on that one. And yes, but the getting out there on Google and, even getting people to write reviews for you on your book on Amazon is incredibly important. Okay, but I have a joke for everyone. Does everyone hear my joke? It's my favorite joke in the whole world. And many
go on then. I want to hear it, so go for it.
Okay. All right. So this is like going into a bar joke. So a priest, a rabbi, and a clown walk into a bar. And so the bartender sees them sit down, comes over to them. He looks at the three of them and he was like, "What? Is this a joke?" That's it. That's the whole joke. I love it so much.
That's too funny.
It's so funny. It's like the anti-joke joke.
All right, you're too funny now. Thank you,
it.
Because it's like the ultimate joke. Like someone walks into a bar, and then the bartender's like, "Is this a joke?"
Yes, it's a joke. Yes, clearly.
Oh, okay. I'm like going, what?
Silly. It's so silly, but it makes me laugh because I get it.
Right on.
No. Right. So now, Michelle, Michelle, Michael, what are your top tips to help us sell more books if we're not gonna go on the back of charity and donation?
Go ahead, Michelle.
I went actually, the whole reason how I even started what Annie has was through an amazing, it's called Nevada Pep, actually. And I would go right back through them and do it that way and find out what even made you start your book and go back to that. I tried to do this whole winter, as I said, trying to start my book, and I couldn't do it. So I'm going back to do it with Nevada Pep and my garden and just find your happiness and go make your book and it'll sell. And if it doesn't sell, you know what? At least you got it out and you wrote your story and you feel better. And that's the biggest thing with mental health is you need yourself to feel better. Don't look at someone else and be like, oh, that's going to make me feel better, because I tried that. It doesn't work real well. So go back to the beginning of what made you want to start the book. And I guess that will help you, because that's what I'm going to do. And go play in some dirt, I guess, because that's what I'm going to do. And it will sell. And get Annie, the magical wizard behind the curtain, to help you out. And that's how I do it.
I like that. Like, we will tell your stories, Michelle. We will convert your what to call them. The admin you've done to save all the documents. We'll turn them into stories. That's what we'll sell in the end, right? But as you're saying now, clearly you have a cause already before you even start writing your book. So again, the points I just made, make sure that you are going to show your buyers the love, the impact, and and also meet their emotional needs. Right? People give because they have it. They want to feel good about whatever the cause is that they support. the issue that you're going to have is that most people don't support any one cause. So it's very hard to find, maybe another trick that I might say, I say trick, maybe another strategy I might say is, let you going, Joni, we'll miss you already, you're still here. I say that to my kid every day. Bye, Joni, we'll talk later. Right, thank you. You made me laugh as well. And you're very, what's the word I'm looking for? You're very educational. They will learn a lot from you. Look, my friends, if you say you have to write for what your readers want, what they can benefit from. Like I said, I think the place I got to look before I had to speak to Joni was find a way to show your readers how their money is having an impact. Maybe let them choose the charity that you give the money to. How about that? Fancy that?
That's awesome.
If you said to me, Annie, you choose the charities and you give them the money, I give a percentage of my road, I might look at you and say, okay, I've got many causes that I believe in, and I got charities I support. You're gonna support one or more of them, then let's do it. Why not? Maybe. I didn't say definitely. I said maybe. That's a strategy. I just gave you a hint. I get to the charities already. I don't need you to come and help me, do I?
That's why I love you, Annie. You're the wizard behind the curtain, man. I feel like I'm going down the yellow brick road every time I talk to you.
I like that.
And poor Paulette has the yellow brick road right to her phone. That poor woman deals with me more than I think anyone. Probably my ponies.
No three-legged ones, no?
I apologize. What?
No three-legged ponies.
What about?
Your ponies all have 4 legs. Your ponies all have 4 legs, right?
Well, it just depends. Yes, they have 4 legs. There's 8 altogether. And they're small ponies. Actually, want to know the story on my ponies is a very nice judge. I'm very close with them, and can I throw out his name? Am I allowed to do that?
If you want to.
All right, David Gamble. He's a family court judge and a great guy. I actually call him Papa. Love that man. He backs me on everything I do. I really needed some therapy when we put me out here, and the only way I knew to do it was with animals. And I'm not joking. David Gamble and his wife got a hold of me and said, "Hey, you want these ponies?" And I was just like, "Are you kidding me? Seriously? 3 ponies, 3 horses?" And he's like, "Yeah, and honestly, that was almost 3 weeks. No, I'd say 2 weeks later, I actually deleted all social media after the ponies got here because I was having fun with them and I didn't want to distract myself anymore with social media. And mind you, these ponies weren't trained, folks. These were they were wild horses. And he will tell you, yeah, they were wild. They came right off of and they did. He lives out in the mountains, and they came right off of his range. And so those are my 2 ponies, and they're like dogs now. Anyone can ride them. You can just jump on them. But when I first got them here, let me tell you, they would run up, and I call her Mama, but we named her Olaf. And the other one, the smaller one, younger one's named Allie. But if Olaf, she's still got that wild, she was raised on the range. And if she doesn't know you, she'll like run right up to the fence, and then she'll stop. She'll just pin everything back and everything. And then she just opens up her mouth, and everyone thinks, "Oh, what's she doing?" And she's smelling them is what she's doing. I know it sounds weird. And then they're like, "Oh, you're not going to hurt me. And, you can throw a kid on them now and not even have anything on them. You know, but that brought me back from the place I was at. I guess I should. The wild ponies, and Dave Gamble knew this was going to do it for me too. The judge, he was just like, wow, it works, and it did. I actually even do my ponies' feet now. No, I do not put horseshoes on them. Again, they're ponies. But I learned how to do their feet and everything. And when I learned how to do their hooves, I had learned a new tool. And so I knew I was able to learn new tools again. And that was when everything just ping inside of my head. And when I found out I could learn something new, that's when I started healing and going forward. And that's when I started the garden to teach me how to grow again. I mean, you're talking over 45 years, everything had happened. I mean, 45 years is a long time to have to find yourself again and grow. And so that's what the ponies are from. And believe me, they have 4 feet or 4 legs, Annie.
Excellent.
And you know what? If you want a pony, you know, you can have, not my ponies. Go get yourself a pony.
No, I'm good. I don't need a pony. I'm all right, thanks. I'm all right. You know, I don't ride. I've never ridden a horse. I'm not going to start now. I'm not going to ride a pony. I might kill the poor thing with the big size of me, right? Let's leave that alone. Let's leave that alone. They're small. Chin, so welcome. I'm glad you're here. Someone says hello, Coach David. So Dr. Leslie says her book, her audio book, The Possibilities of Irada, is now available on Amazon. Excellent. Congratulations, Dr. Leslie. Congratulations. Was Christiana say, now Michelle, you crack me up. Any and his 3-legged ponies. Yeah, they're out there somewhere. I want to support them. I tell you that for nothing. Michael, sorry, I missed you out. What's your top tips for selling books if not going to work? If we're not going to sell on the back of charities.
All right, I'm going to be real quick about this. Write books besides religion on politics, economics, healthcare, sci-fi, romance, education, and back again on religion. Religion is at both the top and at the bottom because there's no telling what will happen when you write that book. And by the way, Anya, I like the idea of the one-legged donkey and the one-legged elephant.
One-legged elephant. That could be a hard life, right? No, you can be.
That's an excellent children's book.
I think you can build. I'm sure people have built like trolleys to give them other legs, right? You know, they've got like a frame to help them to get around. I mean that sincerely. I'm not joking.
Yeah,
I mean, you can look on Google.
Write children's books. How did that elephant get this one-legged? I mean, that blows the mind of a kid. And he'll open that book and he'll read it over and over again. What happened?
Even I want to know. Maybe no. A 3-legged one sounds better. I must say.
No. The one-legged one.
A 3-legged one sounds better.
I'm gonna dump the 3-legged one and throw it in the trash can and get the one-legged one.
Yeah, sure. Talk to Michelle, right? Sharon, welcome. I'm glad you're here, Sharon. So learning new things develop self-esteem and confidence. Michelle certainly got a lot of that. Then how to look after her ponies. I won't call them donkeys anymore. What's GITA? What's that hashtag? Does anyone know? Anyone? Sharon, you might have to explain to me what a hashtag means. I'm sure last time you said no, I saw it. One of your messages.
Give idiots their cause.
No, GITA.
TA. Oh.
Yeah.
Give idiots their attention.
Really? Yeah. It can't be.
I like Michael's. I wonder what it is. I like Michael's.
Yeah, Sharon, how? What GITA stand for? Please help. I know it kills me when I don't know what emojis and hashtags are meant to mean. Because I just think you should know that. But I need to learn once. That's all.
Make it up,
Zero.
Annie. Make it up.
I can't make it up. Zero, welcome. It seems like you're on my YouTube. I'm so glad you're here. Please like today's video. Comment on this video, and then subscribe to my channel while you're there. Oh, I love YouTube.
Annie, when I say make it up, I mean call Cyrus.
I can't. It's not about making it up. I have to know what Sharon Rose has in mind when she does a hashtag. I need to know.
Good solutions, Annie. You have good solutions. They're in your pocket, but you just don't know it. They're on your phone. You just call them up.
I'm asking the geniuses of my life. That's all of you on stage, and no one's telling me. So I'm gonna have to, message Sharon and say, right, what does
Oops, I'm sorry, Cyrus. I didn't mean that.
Cyrus is genius. I'm gonna ask him as well because I need to know. Coach David, are you gonna speak to us today? It seems like we're not in luck. Let's go to Alexis. Alexis, if not charitable donations, what are we going to sell our books on? What's your considered advice for our authors here today?
Oh, that's tough. Let me think. Well, selling for charity is difficult. You really have to embrace a different point of view, marketing tactics, and realize that I don't know if it's realization. Look, what are the people getting out of it? Is it really telling about your experience? Is it telling about the charity? What kind of a book is it? It just can't be emotional. And again, my thought is if you're going to write a book to raise money, whether it's for yourself or your family or just for the glory or for charity, sell the book. I just feel selling the book and then designating the charity. And my experience, and this was a while back, I don't know what it is now because I didn't venture forth, was I wrote a book, small one, and where it was published, there wasn't good marketing there at all. That was a while back. And they had this opportunity to designate towards charities, and it would be, you could either designate one if it was on their list or just let them pick it. And the amount of money was 0.5%, 1%, and 1.5% to go to the charity. I don't know if it's different other places or what, but I do know that that's an awful little amount of money. What if you say $10 was your book? Well, what's 1%? 10 cents? Something like that. So how many books would you have to sell to make an impact? And that would take really great marketing. So again, I just think sell your book. And the other thing is, here's an observation that came to me while I was speaking. Have you ever seen ads on TV, or email or on social media, or get it in snail mail? There's a charity, and if you donate X amount, you'll get a t-shirt, X amount, a sticker, and sometimes X amount, you get this great book that somebody wrote. So I don't know if the book's the seller. I'm not sure if I'm answering the question correctly, but those are my thoughts at the moment.
You're answering the question beautifully. The question, I think, on your last point is, how many of you here buy that book or put your money down because of that? Because you can get the book and support the cause. that's a question, Alexis. And I think we'll find many people don't put their hand in their pocket.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Not many people would, especially if you're an unknown author. I think people are more inclined just to give to the charity if they want to. And, you know, they'll send you, charities will send you things. And honestly, when you get these items, do you really use them? I use the notepads because I have an obsession with making lists and throwing them away.
Some people love that dopamine hit. They love that hit of thank you for support. Are you with me? They love to receive something in the post, for example. And I hate getting things in the post half the time. It's
well,
normally
are you going to read the book? Are you going to read the book? Are you donating for the book, or are you just donating to the cause? And are you really going to read the book? I don't always.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. You know, I think that, again, we'll learn from you, Alexis. I think the money that these charities make on the back of an author's royalties are tiny.
Yep.
You know, that's why I donate to charity directly. I'm not going to donate because you give me money to, and the amounts you mentioned, they are astonishing, right? You know, yes. they're peanuts compared to, you might say something's better than nothing. I'm not sure. You know, if you want to give to charity, if I want to give to charity, I give to charity. If I want to sell a book, I sell a book. Again, Alexis made the point, sell your book. Make your book the star of the show. Make your book the thing it is, right? Make your book the thing that people are buying. You know, the reason I say that is because you want to write a book, my friends, that your readers love. You want to write a book that solves someone's problem. You know, and part of selling the book is building those relationships with people. Yes, and I know Jordan said SEO earlier. Now, look, throwing your book on a website can help, but let me tell you, most of your sales will come from the people that you get to meet and talk to. Maybe not one-to-one, maybe in a group, maybe maybe they're watching a recording or something, but people get to see you, talk to you, and feel like they know you, and that you know them, that you care about them and their problems. They're the ones who buy your books, my friends. So write your book for people to solve their problem. That's the long and short of it. You know, the way you do the online thing, that doesn't necessarily require you to build those personal relationships. I've used those words deliberately. You still have to build relationships with your buyers. You know, you can easily have a blog, for example, where you share content with your readers, right? People will see that as a relationship with you. They will know that you care. They will know that you understand their problems. You know, if you've got a blog, you know, that is dedicated to your book or your books, you know, the simple rule is this. Much like a social media post, you can't post all the time about buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. Don't do that. You know, you're gonna have to make your content look natural. You know, we tend to work with this rule of, you know, 10% of your posts, of your blogs, will be about buying your book. So you have to find the other 90% of content to talk about. That's not saying buy my book. That's, you know, it's about the things that your audience cares about, the things that your audience need help with, things that worry your audience, things that your audience might enjoy, might engage with. Something that helps them, right? That's how we tend to do book marketing, and not on the back of charity donations. Like, if you're gonna write a book, my friends, you know, I'm gonna use the words of Gary V. I know you like that. I know you like that, Michael. Gary V says, you don't want your book to be an unwanted intrusion in your readers, potential buyers' lives. You want your book to be natural. Make it simple. Make it memorable. Make it inviting to look at. Make it fun to read. Make it for your customer, your audience, not for yourself. Because when you jab, you're not selling anything. You are, you're not asking your consumer for a commitment. You're just sharing a moment together. Something funny, ridiculous, something funny, ridiculous, informative, dramatic, clever, heartwarming. That's how you sell books, not by writing for a charitable cause that you're not even going to be able to help.
Yeah, the one-legged elephant and the one-legged pony. Yeah,
I agree
I
100%.
love that.
Oh my God. Can't do that when I'm talking. Oh my God, that was awesome.
Anyway, I've done enough of my preaching today. Hopefully, now you take something away from here today, my friends. I will thank all of you, who've joined us. I've thanked all of you, especially those who come on stage as well. Thank you so much. Alexis, thank you so much. Coach, even though we couldn't hear you. Michelle, you're a star as always. Michael, you're a legend. Joni, of course, and Selena, thank you so much, all of you. And everyone in the comments, I appreciate you more than you think. Hopefully, again, look, do go to the comments section of the event page and respond to people's comments. But they're the ones that they've made so far, new ones that they haven't made yet. New ones that are making the comments only. Don't forget Dr. Leslie's point. If you can tie your book launch to a holiday, to a moment in time, it might help people, especially if your book's related to that event. But ultimately, write a great book and do great marketing. That's how you're going to sell your books. So now those who can find a cause. Now, again, I don't want to ignore Joni's point about the tsunami. A lot of people have had experience with the tsunami. And I'm saying if that's the stories you want to tell, of course, make sure that the stories you're telling are going to help people. That gives us a very wide spectrum, a very wide range of things we're going to talk about, right? Don't just use a cheap, I'm going to give my money to charity conversation. It doesn't help. Teofany says, thank you everyone for your thoughts and insights. I have to leave. So much looking forward to being with you again soon. Wishing you a peaceful, relaxing, lovely weekend. Yay. I wish you all the same, my friends. Thank you so much, everyone. Michelle will talk later. Jonah will talk later as well. I'm sure Coach and I have a room later on tonight. So we're going to talk about what is your prophecy? What is your destiny? What do the gods have in mind? What do gods have in mind for you? Do you even know what that is? Would you know how to find it?
That's big. That is really hot.
Join us. It's 9 p.m. GMT, whatever that means in your time zone. I know the US are a bit funny these days.
Yeah, I guess that's why Coach is resting.
No, Coach is dealing with family matter. That's what he says he's doing. So
you want to know what's irritating about time over here right now is the state right next to me isn't the same time as I am. Because everyone decided they get to pick their time. And it's just like, you're kidding me. You're absolutely kidding me. So yeah.
So no, again, this is one of course, now with us in Europe, our clocks haven't gone forwards. We'll go forward on the 27th. That's why I just say my time. And let you work out yours.
We didn't do that any. Some of us went forward, some of us didn't go forward. So we have states over here. They're like, no, I still have an hour to get that in. Political people. I still have an hour according to my state to get that in.
That's ludicrous.
You can make that work for you if you like to go shopping in the other state. If you're looking for some hashish, you can go get.
Will they still be open, Michael?
What kind of state do you live in that has hashish in it?
No, really, I mean, it's a question. Would your Walmart still be open if they close at 10 o'clock, Michael, right? And you live in the next state, would their Walmart really be open?
Yeah.
Really? How
No,
strange.
our Walmart closes and opens when it wants to here in Fallon. It honestly does.
That's even more weird. Look, my friend,
No,
we can't
at
be here all
11,
day.
What state is that? What state is that?
it's Nevada. You know what?
Oh,
Rural
good grief.
Nevada.
Nevada. Uh-oh.
That sounds worse than Missouri. Oh my gosh.
You have no idea.
I'm in
If you-
Arizona.
Oh, see, then you probably, you feel me? You feel me, Arizona. I know you do, because we're a lot.
Look, I'm
Mm.
originally from the beach in California, but I've been to Nevada so many times. And of course, now I'm in Arizona. So, yes, I do. And Arizona does not participate in daylight savings time. So,
See,
never know.
Nevada does. And I don't
How
understand
weird.
why.
Look, I said, I'm in Europe. I'm thrown already because, when I try to call my American friends, when I try to call them to events, for example, the time is just it's not what it was 2 weeks ago. You're all different times. How can that be? We can't operate like that.
I don't
We
know.
have 4 different time zones. They say 3, but it's really 4. And
Yeah.
then Arizona just blowing in the wind.
That makes 5.
Oh, yeah.
That makes 5, Alexis. That makes 5.
Oh, try living in a
That's
24-hour state.
See,
You
no,
know.
I ignore mountain time because I just don't understand it. I don't know where it fits. It doesn't
There's
fit.
Eastern, Central, Mountain, Pacific, and Arizona.
Yeah,
Right,
mountain
so-
time fits in Montana. That's where it fits.
Yeah.
In Montana.
See, I don't, want to know what I decided to start going by is whatever stock market is 24 hours, and that happens to be the UK. So I go by UK standards. Because
Excellent.
you know what? I don't even know what time to go to the bank here anymore. I knew it used to be if you don't get your checks in by 4 o'clock on East Coast time.
Eastern Standard Time. It's horrible. I go by UK time because we're 8-hour difference. So that's kind of how I know because it's kind of more stable.
And every one of you that gets anywhere on the right time, I take my hat off to you, and I'm forever grateful to you. I mean that sincerely because it's such hard work. Now, when I have time to go forward, at the end of the month, I'll feel better. At least I know where I am. And I come in relative to where you are, Alexis.
When I came to the United States, my timing got screwed up big time.
Yeah, I can see how. I can see how.
You can try living here.
Look, I think Henry's points. People in 2025 are exhausted by 2 holdover claims from the 20th century. That's actually lies. You need to meet him to understand what he's talking about. Henry will talk about this lie that our language has no truth and this lie that our life has no meaning. You might think, what is he talking about? Then you work out he really has got a point.
He's talking about spiritual matters.
No, he's a doctor. He's a scientist. He's a cancer doctor.
Yeah.
I've met him, so I know.
The way I read it, it's spiritual matters.
No. Maybe, but my understanding is that it's based purely on how we are taught the world works in terms of science. Not going spiritual. I mean, the science that we live by, that's wrong in itself. But you have to mean.
I know that it's totally and utterly screwed up in terms of the science part of it. I mean, I could agree. And then there are other avenues on what kind of science we actually should be learning. And so that's something that he needs to articulate. What exactly is he talking about?
If you meet him, he'll explain it to you very simply and the way that I got, right? The issue with the challenge Henry has is that his organization commits not to speak in public.
And that's
if he cannot explain it to me, then he never got it, right?
I can explain it to you quite easily. I say we'll have to talk later on. I don't want to bore everyone here. If anyone wants to understand it, okay, I'll live into a room because I like Henry that much. to explain
Yes,
to you.
yes, that I like. Do a room.
But he won't be there. Yeah. Anyway, thank you
I
so
guess you
much.
also
No,
want to speak for him.
yeah, I could, and I would have to, but I don't like to. Look, and I'll talk to him again and make sure we frame the conversations that way. I don't misrepresent his line of thinking. But his line of thinking is very logical, and it's very fact based. It's very, it's once you hear it, you get it. If you've done science at school, you suddenly, you understand. You'll be like, no, Henry, I see what you mean. Until that day comes, it sounds like a vague idea, but no, he believes strongly in what he's talking about. He's even written books about what he's talking about. So we'll get to that in good time. Christiana and Coach, you found your way. Coach, you came back as a real you, not the fake you.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Christiana, we'll see you too. It must be my birthday, right? It's my birthday.
Hello.
Hello,
Yes.
guys. Hello, everyone.
So,
Am I audible? Can you hear me?
yeah,
Am I audible?
How are we doing?
Loud and clear. Don't both talk at once. All right. So let's go to Coach. I come to you, Christiana. So, Coach, I know you made a comment that I thought, but so what's your take on this selling your book on the back of charitable donation?
Well, at the end of the day, you must sell your book anyway. And whichever route you choose, it's a matter of think through and strategy. It's a matter of strategy. It's a matter of think through. And any one of them can succeed. Michelle, good to see you. Alexis, Christina, Michael, you guys are super. Good to see you guys.
You're super too, Coach.
Yeah,
Good to
man.
see you.
Yeah, man. Good to see you.
He's
Sorry,
awesome.
I'm sorry I missed you. You kind of you kind of took off in the other plane.
Same here. Thank you so much. So at the end of the day, you must have a strategy to sell your book. And selling for a cause is a good way. And if you have inroad, yes, you can sell. But what would be wrong or what will not make sense is for you not to believe in the cause and then you want to take advantage of the cause. You're not somebody in that line of persuasion. You don't like it. You just want to make money. So there's no need to lie. There are many ways of selling your book. Go straight to what you want to do. But if you're passionate about a cause, then please, by all means, follow that route. There are many routes to the market. But if you're not passionate about the cause, you just want to use the cause, that's the first fundamental error I think I've seen. Because at some point, you're going to get tired of the cause. The cause is on people's lives. You will soon you burn out internally. Somewhere you run out of steam. Having a book already, every book comes with its own audience. That's my thought. Every book on the planet comes with its own audience. Just look for your audience and you're fine. And then you'll be fine instead of trying to dodge or, take somebody else's, line of stuff. The second thing I want to think about is research. There is always someone. Someone went to Oprah show, and on that day, he sold literally 800,000 copies on one show on one day.
How?
Oh yeah. People were watching Oprah, and Oprah spoke about the book. Oprah said the book changed her life. The book did this, and there are people who've gone on Oprah show. Their books typically sell heavily. I know a pastor in Nigeria who announced, if I stop doing it, he announced on Sunday. He mentioned a book. He quoted a book in his sermon on Sunday. And on Thursday evening, the publisher of the book wrote him an email saying, thank you, they felt sales. And many people said he came from his sermon on Sunday. His church is 50, at that time was 50,000 members. He just simply mentioned the book and spoke about the book for less than a minute. And people began to order. First of all, by Tuesday afternoon, their orders all over the world were done. That is, they could not meet demand. This is before the Amazon days. And then another 2 days, he got the email from them saying, thank you. They have backload of order. So there are people that can mention your book, and you're good. Just imagine Barack Obama goes on CNBC and mentions your book as something that inspired him, you're going to feel the sale. You will feel the sale. You will feel the sale. So there are many channels of selling. There are many opportunities to sell. There are many partnerships to explore. There are people looking for genuine authors. There's room for genuine authorship. There's a whole body of knowledge around authorship, which I know Annie knows. There are conferences where they are doing book authoring brokerage, selling brokerage, where you have Chinese publishers come and meet German publishers. They're all over Europe. They are in America. There are people that make authors famous, like Annie. The United States is full of them, state by state, county by county. They are everywhere in the world. If you want to go to let's say you're an English author, you want to go to the French sector, you want to have followership in German, the opportunities are plenty. There's no need for any underhanded thing. There's no need to be cagey. You don't believe in a course, don't bother. But if you believe in a course and it's your course, hit it. That's my counsel.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to church tomorrow. No, I'm going to Oprah tomorrow. I'll try. Maybe if I find if I can get Trump to say a word or two.
The show is no longer existing. The show is no longer existing. Oprah stopped that show, remember?
Now you tell me the bad news. Damn.
Coach, he said that he's going to go see Oprah. So he has
okay,
right?
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
You have a phone number.
Thank you for that. She has a phone number. Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you. Christiana, what's your take? What's your take on that conversation?
Do you know, Coach, thank you for breaking that down. And I do agree with some of the things you said. And there is power in influence. That's what I'm going to say. There's power in influence, who you connect with, who you build relationship with. You know, it might take that one person that can sell your whole load of book. Your truckload of book could be sold by just one person, right? You could be trying to go everywhere and there and everywhere to sell your book, but that one power, that one influence can bring the people to you as opposed to you chasing the people to buy your books. When it comes to attaching good causes to a book, personally, I have no issue with it, but you have to make that clear. And I don't know, I can't remember who it was that mentioned just what charities or who you're choosing to support gets per percentage of what you're offering or what you're willing to offer from a book sales. We've got to think about it. Why are you doing that? What's the purpose of you wanting to attach that? Is it for the sake of selling books? You know, I don't agree with naming a good cause that really isn't, that follows a different intention. What is your intention? Is it a genuine intention to want to sell a book and truly support a good cause? Or are you attaching a good cause with the hope that you're going to sell a really good book, right? What's the relevance with the book and the cause you're trying to donate for? Because in many cases, that is exactly the reason why people will buy the book. Say, you know, this is good cause, and it's also about what you're supporting. The two go hand in hand, they tie nicely together. I'm not saying that's always the case, or that should always be the case. You might be somebody who is writing a book, but you've experienced, you know, a positive, something positive from the charity you're choosing to support, and you just want to support them because of your goodwill. Ultimately, that for me is okay. I have no issue with tying good causes and selling of books, but they have to be genuine. It's when they're not genuine that the suspicious fingers and suspicious eyes and suspicious wagging of tails comes out. We have to make sure that we are doing these things really for the right reasons, not for, I don't know, tax evasion and all the above other reasons why people do these things incorrectly or inappropriately. So that's my take that's my input for this topic. It took me forever and a day to get on this show today. I was very blessed that I kept getting thrown out. Yesterday wasn't as bad but today it's been interesting. Coach David, I won't blame you for it. But after we spoke, I couldn't get on again.
Wow. At least you're here, so that gives me hope. Like, look,
Yes.
I agree with both your points, and I agree that if you support a charity strongly, then mention it. I guess my point doesn't change. People ultimately don't care about your support for a charity. What they care about is the book that they want to read. And you mentioned it there, Christiana. A good book starts with focus on writing a good book, and then market the good book cleverly. Coach mentioned influencers can help. Of course, they can. They're going to find the right ones. But many influencers will cost you a lot of money. Who said that? Yeah. Anyway, they're not free, right? But write a good book, market your book properly, and people will buy your book.
And it can help you. That's why he's a godfather.
I certainly can. I can make it. I guarantee to make your book a bestseller.
And before you get it to any, I can help you to edit it. So there you go.
Yeah.
You have the complete package. And let me just say one thing. Just at what Christina said, the idea of a book is, sorry, I bought into you guys. Sorry about that. It's best. It's not best writing author. It is best selling author. Although sales is engineered right from writing, there's a way you can conceive a book from a sales standpoint, from the way the receiver would begin with the end in mind, like Stephen Covey says, and then you can easily engineer a best written material or a best selling material before you get to the point of selling. There's a way you can design the journey of the consumer right from writing. And the other thing is that, anyway, we should not be debating this. It should be intuitive that passionate groups, it's a valid question. Who are the passionate groups about my book? What is the total addressable market size anyway? Who is also interested? I mean, Christiana always talks about postpartum depression, all those things. There's a whole community of women and men in that category. That's why you should do that analysis before you hit the studio to start writing. And the other point I'd like to make is, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody tries to write for a cause and it will not fall through the cracks. Something will happen along the line. The systems of the earth have a way. There's a guy who wrote a book about David and Goliath and how you can take on giants. I think Malcolm Gladwell. His first set of books were fine, but that particular book, something happened and that book destroyed his writing career, in quotes. People came at him heavily. He was speaking to a sector and some stories, was trying to use a Christian metaphor. And then he debunked the fact that Goliath was a well-trained general, that maybe Goliath was someone that had health challenges. That's why David could overcome him. Look, it shows he wasn't passionate about Christianity or the Christian faith enough to not use that metaphor, because they came at him. I mean, including atheists, agnostics, everybody came at him that no, that's not what the history book says. So if you go and write, even using an illustration from an area you don't know too much about, or a metaphor that's offensive to a group, can kill your book. Talk less of you don't want to write for a charity you're not passionate or you don't know enough about. You really may take a gun and just shoot yourself in 2 foot, because that may be the end. Because a book is a public material. If you're not grounded in that area from a passion perspective, maybe you should not write about it. If you've not done your homework about that area, maybe you should be careful about writing, because you can run to many problems.
I agree. Don't write about what you don't know about. Don't be doing that. This is like public speaking. Don't speak about what you don't know about, because you get found out. You'll be exposed in good time. You'll be exposed sooner or later.
It's like an orange trying to become an apple. It doesn't work.
The one-legged donkey, that one.
Do you know what? I was behind the scenes chuckling away, thinking, what is this with the donkeys and the elephants with three legs?
Charity, you care, Christiana.
Making
You're
fun
a
of the
kind
one-legged
person.
donkey and the one-legged elephant. Those are good stories.
Tammy, you're the most important person right now. Sam says, God bless. I'm reading Let Them from Mel Robbins. Super advice. And I believe she tells us how she marketed her book and her journey to the success of the book. So can we discuss how it became so successful? Tammy, I'll connect with you. I'll DM you. Let's talk. Let's find a line of conversation that our friends can benefit from. If we can find that, then let's do a room. Why not? I want to talk. I like to talk real talk. So let's learn from those who've been there, those who've actually done money and made money from their books. That's what Book to Business is, my friend. Go on, Alexis, please.
Oh, Ari, I didn't know when this was going to end. I was just going to say I need to go have a couple other things to do, but also
we're
want to.
We're going now.
Okay, I connected with Christina on LinkedIn, so.
Yes, I will respond, Alexis. Good to hear
Thank
you here.
Take care.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Make sure you come to Coach David's events later on, the prophecy conversation.
What time? 9 p.m.
9 p.m. UK time.
I'm going to be cooking my soup at 9 p.m. I'll be cooking while on board.
Yay! That soup's coming to me, by the way.
Well, send a link and I will try and correlate the times.
All right.
I'll send you all a DM with the link for sure.
The beans is all done.
I'm big on prophecies.
Christiana, we're talking. Christiana, you have my ears.
For finally, any
Christiana, I'm listening.
Beans is all done, Annie.
Yeah, tell me more. How's it getting here?
I'm not telling you how it's getting here.
Yay! Yes, you're on big screen. Only you, because you're the important one as we're talking, right?
Is it just me? Where's everybody else?
When you mention beans, Nigerian bean stew, come on now. I'm here. I'm listening.
Are you putting me?
Everyone else can go to sleep. Christiana, it's only you and me.
Where are you? There, I can't see you.
I'm still here. Don't you worry. I'm right here. No,
I cannot see you. Let me see your face.
So we have a plan or not?
We have a plan with. We do have a plan. I'm not telling you my plan live on this show.
Okay. I will DM you or WhatsApp afterwards and work it out. I'm excited.
Okay.
I'm excited. Yeah, Nigerian bean stew is the best thing in the world. Well, apart from what you see. Everything else.
My Nigerian beans is the best thing in the world.
It is.
You would know that because you had it.
Yeah, yours is definitely legendary. It's worth writing home about. I'm telling the world.
My phone's about to die.
Yeah, so we're about to go.
My car's about to be late, so I'm going to go pick him up. See you later.
Thank you so much, everyone. They're back again in 2 weeks.
Bye, Coach. Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye, friends. Bye, everyone. Bye. She's success with global.media.